Welcome back again. Welcome to my Explore DeFi channels. In this video, we are going to continue to finalize our cold wallets. Before we get into finishing the cold wallet setups, it's going to be a short 8 minutes video to help you to have a better understanding what is needed to acquire your cold wallets. You can skip the first 8 minutes if you already familiar about the cold wallets. But if you're not, it can be an important information for your acknowledgements. Since you have came this far, please give me a like and subscribe for my channel to support me. Okay, let's get to it.
Okay, so with self-custody, there's essentially two overall types of crypto wallets. What's called hot wallets, and then there are cold wallets. And hot wallets are essentially these simple little apps, and usually they are a browser extension, like a Chrome extension if you're a Chrome user, or Brave, Firefox, whatever internet browser that you use. All of these apps are essentially, for the most part, available on all of these platforms, and you are downloading a browser extension and generating an account number on the blockchain from these apps. And for that reason, the private key, or the seed phrase, right, the key to that address, could be exposed to the internet. And so here's in a little screenshot of somebody browsing the internet here. You can see there's a little Chrome extension, and when it gets clicked on, this is a wallet app with a few accounts in it. And what I mean by the seed phrase could be exposed to the internet, or the key, is that somebody clicked into the settings, that somebody gained unauthorized access to your computer, and they opened up this app. They could reveal that seed phrase, right, which are the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, for these accounts. And so that's not good. So we want to remedy that, right? And the last attribute about these hot wallets is that these are actually the wallets that we will use to directly connect to Web3 or to the open DeFi marketplace. But we're not going to actually keep funds inside of these wallets. We're just going to use these wallets to access the marketplaces. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. All right, but let's compare that to what's considered a cold wallet, right? Or a hardware wallet. With these wallets, the sign-off actually occurs with an offline device, right? So in this case, we're going to be using a ledger, but there are other brands out there, and signing off on transactions actually occurs by pushing buttons on that physical device, right? And that physical device is not connected to the internet. And because it's not connected to the internet, when we initially create that account number, or that identity, right? That digital identity on the blockchain, we're doing so offline. So that private key, that seed phrase, the key to the kingdom, never touches the internet. And because it's not actually on our computer, if for some crazy reason somebody hacked our computer, somebody, gained access to our computer in some way, shape, or form, and they saw that you had a hot wallet installed, there would be nothing that they could do, right? Because your funds would become inaccessible. Why? Because your funds are actually not on either of these wallets, right? Your funds are digital accounts on the blockchain record, right? Which exists just on the blockchain. That physically inside of this app, or physically inside of this device, these are just how we sign off on transactions, right? So with a hot wallet, there's a way for you to literally just click a button to send or receive a transaction, and it's inside this app, right? And we talked about how the seed phrase can also be accessed if you dig into the settings in this, whereas with the cold wallet or the hardware wallet, right, the entire thing is offline. So the seed phrase gets generated offline. You're signing off on things off of your computer, right? You just literally connect it with a USB cable to your device, and all you're transmitting back and forth is that you approve, right? It's kind of like if you had two keys on the nuke. You need the second key. You got to turn the second key or you can't launch the nuke. Think about it that way. And that's why this is an indirect connection to decentralized applications, right? Because we're not directly connecting to any of the DeFi apps that we're going to be running into. And we can illustrate this one step further here, right? This is our ideal DeFi Vault wallet setup. All right, so let's review this really quick, because this is exactly what we're going to set up in the rest of this module here. We're going to create a DeFi Vault using both a hot wallet and a cold wallet. With this setup here, the hot wallet is what's going to allow us to connect to all the Web3 apps, right? The DeFi markets, like I was talking about, we're going to need these hot wallets so we can participate in all these DeFi markets, right? And this is what's connected to the internet when we're using our computers, laptops, etc. But the key element to the setup is that our funds are not going to be on any accounts that were generated by the hot wallet, right? And that's because the private key to those accounts could be compromised. The good news is that these hot wallets allow you, if you have a hardware wallet, to connect that hardware wallet to the hot wallet so that you can access those funds. However, the security of that account is offline. It's maintained by the ledger. So this hot wallet will allow you to connect a ledger to it, a ledger device, and it's on the device itself that you would find the private key, right, where that seed phrase. And it's also on the device that you'll have to sign off as a second signature when you conduct a transaction. And so that's the structure of this DeFi vault, right? Because it's a two-part structure. We're going to use the hot wallet to interact with the DeFi marketplace, but really our funds are located in a wallet that is secured by an offline device. The signing key is offline. We connect to our computer with a USB cable, and that transmits a simple yes, no, do you approve or not, but your seed phrase, which you will discover what that is as we set up the wallet. And all this is a lot simpler than you think if you're looking at this said in this seems new and foreign. It's because it is, right? You've never done anything like this before. As you set it up, you'll see just how simple it can be. And this structure is what's going to keep us safe, right? It's going to keep us safe from bad actors or hackers who try to gain access to our computer. You know, whether or not we're using crypto or not, there's hackers out there, right? They try to phish your data. And so if anyone were to breach our computers, right, and they kind of knew what they were doing when it comes to crypto, and they see, oh, wow, there's a wallet, right? There's a wallet on this browser here. Let's go see what's inside. Guess what? They're only going to be able to access the accounts that we're not using, right? They can only sign off and push buttons on these top two accounts here, which for this illustration, we assumed were generated by someone who set up this wallet, whereas this third account is an account that was in fact set up originally with a ledger, the private keys, the seed phrase, it's safe and secure, it's offline, right? Out here in reality, not in the digital world here, right? And so that's why we have this green box here and this jaggedy line is because we are protected from all the shenanigans that could happen. The last bit I'll mention about all of this is that if you follow all the best practices that we show you about crypto and DeFi, it's a pretty straightforward and safe experience. It's really only when people go off script, so to speak, and they go start exploring figurative dark alleys is when they might find themselves in trouble, right? And so we are setting up this DeFi vault to protect us from harm in that unlikely event that we find ourselves knowingly or unknowingly exposed to a bad actor, right? And if you have this set up here, you become bulletproof. And so that's it for this video. Okay, in this video, we're going to set up a wallet that we are going to be using to interact with DeFi within the Ethereum ecosystem. So the Ethereum network and all the related networks within the Ethereum ecosystem are all going to be managed in this one wallet. And the most universal wallet for all these networks is Metamask. So if you go to metamask.io, you can come here and you can download the wallet. It's available for multiple browser types. So whether you're a Chrome user, Firefox, Brave, etc., you should have no issue downloading Metamask. So I'm going to download Metamask for Chrome right now and click install. And it's going to install a Chrome extension from the Chrome store. So I'm going to click add to Chrome and add the extension. Okay, it's been added. And so now we're going to walk through this setup flow here. All right, so there's some terms of use. You can go ahead and check those out. Then check the box. And what we're going to do is select create a new wallet. So I'm going to click that button here. And they're asking if we want to submit data to them to help them improve their app. I'm gonna hit no thanks on this. And now I'll go ahead and create a password. And it is important to note that this password is only to access the Metamask install on this device. This is not some account like you have other accounts online where you can access them from, any device. This is literally something that you are setting up on this particular device, whatever that may be. And so that this password is going to be specific to this install of Metamask. And that's because, Web3 is decentralized. There's no corporate controller of all this information, right? So Metamask is telling you that they can't recover your password. And largely with how we're setting up our DeFi vaults, it doesn't matter so much because we're not going to be putting funds in any of the accounts that Metamask will generate for us. So you can type in a password here, or if you're using a password manager, you can go ahead and generate a password. So I'll go ahead and hit continue to create a new wallet. Now what Metamask is going to do is they're going to walk you through this flow here where they educate you about seed phrases, right? Recovery phrases, but we're not going to be too concerned with this because we're not going to be putting any funds in any accounts that are generated through this seed phrase, right? We have our vault through our hardware wallet. And so this largely doesn't matter. We're just kind of going through the motions here. So it's not something that you have to take too seriously, but you can review the process and watch the videos. Could be just a good review. And so I'll just go through this secure my wallet process here. And this is the way Metamask does it. But again, we don't really care about the seed phrase. So you can click the button to reveal the phrase. And then you can go ahead and just copy these words here and hit next. Okay, now they want us to fill in the blanks here. So I'm going to paste all the words that I copied and just kind of go through this really quick here. Okay, once you've entered the words to confirm that we're missing, you can hit confirm. And the wallet is created, right? So we'll hit that button right there. Then they're giving us a nice helpful suggestion here to pin the wallet to our extensions that are visible. So I can go ahead and click the little puzzle piece and go ahead and pin that so I can have easy access to it. So I'm going to hit next. And we're all done. And any pop-ups or acknowledgements or anything like that, you can just kind of go through them. I'm going to enable this setting here. Okay, and here we are inside the wallet now. Now the first thing that we're going to want to do is connect our DeFi vault because we're not going to use this account. That was created for us when we set up this wallet, right? This is a hot wallet. This account is hot, meaning it's tied to a seed phrase that is stored inside of this wallet app, right? And so it could potentially be compromised. So we're never going to use this account here. And so if I click this little drop down, I can do one of two things. I can add another account. If I wanted to create another hot wallet, I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to connect my hardware wallet. So I'm going to click the button. And instead of adding a new account, I'm going to choose this third option here, add hardware wallet. So what you're going to need to do is plug in your Ledger device to the USB and connect it to your computer and toggle over to the Ethereum app and then press both buttons on the Ledger until you see the screen say application ready. And once you do that, you can click on add hardware wallet. And Metamask is going to ask you what kind of wallet you're connecting. So you'll select Ledger. And they do have a link to the tutorial from Ledger about connecting Metamask to your Ledger device. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And you can follow along with this video. And now you should see this pop up here. And make sure you click inside the box and click on Nano X. Right? When you click on Nano X, it will highlight the button for you to click on Connect. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, one thing we're going to change from the default here is we're going to toggle here where it says Ledger Live. And we're going to switch that to this BIP 44 standard, which is the universal standard for how recovery phrases are generated and encrypted. All right, so we're just going to click on that. And it's going to have us do over this pairing here, right? So we're going to click inside of the box here again, where it says Nano X paired, and then that will allow us to click on the Connect button. So I'm going to click on Connect. And by default, there will be several account numbers that are generated for your Ledger Vault. And you'll primarily just use one, but you can check off a few just to have them there in case down the line you want to start using multiple accounts. This is always something you could add in later. But while you're here, you might as well just check off the first 5 and hit unlock. And so this whole flow that you just went through were something you just needed to do once on the device that you're setting up Metamask with, or on the browser, I should say, right? This is a unique install on whatever browser you're using. And if I click this drop down now, I can see that there's that default account number 1, which is a hot wallet. And then now I can see that there's 5 more accounts here that are all tagged as being Ledger addresses, right? So you can go ahead and select your first Ledger address, and this is the account that you're going to be using. In my case, I've got some funds on this account, and I can toggle to the original account that this wallet was started with, right? I can toggle back to any of the Ledger accounts just by using this drop down up here. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is add a couple of more networks that are part of the Ethereum ecosystem to our MetaMask wallet, right? By default, we have Ethereum mainnet. That's what you'll see on the left here. There's a little drop down, and we're going to add some networks. So I'm going to click this button here, and I'm just going to add all of these networks on the list here. These are some common networks. That at some point we may be working on, and there are more. There's other ways to add other networks to your wallet, but for now we're just going to add some of these more popular networks here. So I'm going to add Arbitrum 1. When I click add, it pulls up the network information. I can click approve on this. And it's asking me if I want to switch networks. I won't do that right now. I'll hit dismiss. And this is going to be a little tedious, but I'm going to go back to the top left and add all the rest of the networks. So I'm going to add Avalanche, hit approve, then go ahead and just add all the ones that I'm missing that are available out of the box for me to add to my wallet here. So you can go ahead and just do the same thing with your wallet. And we've got one more to add here. Okay, all done. And so now what you'll notice is that on the top left, you can actually toggle between different networks. I can switch to the Arbitrum network. I can switch to the base network. And regardless of which network I select, one thing that's important to note is that we're always working with the same account address, right? I'm still viewing my Ledger 1 account here with this unique account ID number. And I could have different token assets that I'm holding on different networks. Now I'm going to toggle back over to, say, the Arbitrum network. And as you receive token assets to your Ledger account, they will show up on your tokens list as the default tab here. There's a couple of tabs, and for the most part, you're just going to be concerned with the tokens tab here, as well as the activity tab when you do any transactions. When you send crypto or receive crypto, if you click on activity, you'll have a list of transactions that have occurred in the wallet, and you'll be able to reference all of those here. But the tokens tab is where you will find your tokens, right? So in this case, I've got some Ethereum in this wallet on this network, and there are actually 3 more tokens that I have in this account. And because this is a fresh install of Metamask, Metamask is prompting me that they can see I have other tokens associated with this account number, and I can click on this import tokens button here because they can see on the record on the blockchain that I have balances for these tokens, right? So if I just click import, now the screen looks a little bit more full here, and I can see a list of the crypto that's inside of this account. And so again, as you're receiving crypto into your wallet on this ledger account, you will see those show up on your tokens list specific to the network that you're holding them on, right? So if I'm going to toggle back over to Ethereum mainnet, for example, I've got some tokens here, so I'll click on import tokens. There's a lot more on this network with this account address. All the tokens now that I'm holding on the Ethereum mainnet, right? All still under the same account number. You can kind of think of this as a dresser, right? And each network is like a different drawer. So if I go over to Polygon, I'll import those tokens here that I've had on this account. And so similarly, I can see all the tokens connected to this same ledger account number, right? Only I'm holding these on the Polygon network. Now, we've been viewing our wallet in a full tab here because MetaMask opened it in a new tab by default. But I want to show you how you access this wallet, right? In case you close the tab, for example. If I close that tab, all I need to do is click on the Chrome extension, and I can go ahead and just go through all these notices here. And of note, there's something called MetaMask Portfolio, which is not actually your wallet, right? And this can confuse some people. If I click on See Portfolio, this opens up this kind of dashboard to look at all your holdings. However, this is not your actual wallet, right? So I'm just going to close that because I don't actually want to look at that, right? So I'm going to click on the extension again. And what you'll notice now is that when you click the extension, it kind of pops out, right? It's that same wallet, only shrunk down. And if I want to see this, if I click away, it will kind of disappear. But I'm logged into the wallet right now. If I want to make this full screen, all I need to do is click on these 3 dots up here. I can click on Expand View, and it will open the wallet into a full screen tab, just like we had before. And what you'll find comparing the full screen view to just clicking on the extension, right, is it's the same information. You can switch networks with that drop down on the top left corner. You can switch account numbers in the center. And if you click the 3 dots on the right, there's a settings menu, which you largely don't need to do anything with. So I'm going to click X on the settings, and really what you would be doing is locking the wallet, which is how you sign out of it when you're not using it, right? So I can click on lock, and now I'm locked out of the wallet. And if I had this tab closed, right, if I wanted to get back to the wallet and sign in, I could simply click on the Chrome extension, type in the password, and I'm logged in. And so that's it for this video. We simply wanted to set up the MetaMask wallet and connect our Ledger hardware wallet to it and give you a brief tour. We'll definitely be coming back to this wallet routinely throughout the rest of this training, and so you'll get a lot more comfortable with it as we go.